What's up, everyone? This is the JRPG Beast back with another video for y'all. Today we're going to be looking over another Final Fantasy VII Remake theory. This one today we're going to be looking at is who exactly rescued or saved Biggs before the plate fell down. So last time we saw Biggs in the game was right before the plate in Sector 7 started to collapse, and he was already presumed dead at that time, and then we kind of move on to ourselves. Jump to the ending, and then we see that Biggs is very much alive, waking up in the orphanage, so it leaves a lot of questions on who carried him out of the plate before it collapsed. I have a few ideas. One's completely out there, but let's go ahead and get started, and we'll start with the least likely first. So the first one that I think is, again, the least likely is that no one actually saved him, that Biggs got his own butt up and he got out of there. I have to believe, based on his condition when we last saw Biggs, that this isn't really something that he would be capable of. He looked, again, presumably he was dead at that point, so he didn't really look like the type of person who could get up and carry himself out in time before the whole plate collapsed. But you never know. Next up is Tifa, and this one makes some sense, based on the fact that when we last left Biggs, Tifa would had to cross paths with him in order to get to Cloud, where she gets to him before the helicopter and everything hits. So she would have to see him. Assuming that he was actually there, which could go into a whole lot of other questions that whoever did save him maybe gets him out of there before Tifa gets there, because you never hear any conversation with Tifa afterwards where, oh yeah, I saw Biggs. Even when she comes up the thing, you don't ever see her with that real emotional face. She doesn't really seem that upset. You would think that if she just saw that her really close friend was dead or near death or anything like that, she'd have a little bit more emotion on her face. Now, granted, she was doing a lot of things. The helicopter came in and was shooting at her, so there could be just a lot of things going on there where she just didn't think about it. To me, it's really hard to believe that later in the story, whenever Barrett is really upset and he's naming everybody off, we're okay mentioning that Marlene's safe, but she doesn't mention anything about, oh yeah, I got Biggs out of there. So again, that one kind of gets that out of my head. Next up is the one that I think that is probably actually more likely, is Kate Sith or Kate She, however you prefer to pronounce it. So we get a little bit glimpse of Kate as he's reacting to the plate collapse. We also know that Reeve was like super against the whole concept of dropping the plate. My theory is that Kate was going through and pulling out people from the structure, trying to save as many people as he could before it collapsed. And then we do get that flashback, or we get that scene where he's, slamming his fist on the ground. He's really upset. He's really angry. That's because he couldn't get more people out, or that he didn't make it back in time, whatever it is. But I do think that there's a likelihood that Biggs is one of those people that he could have got out of there in time before the whole thing collapsed. I do find it strange to me that they just throw that in there, which I guess it could just be a little nod because of the people who played the original. Oh, that's Kate She. We're familiar with that. But for a lot of people new, and that's who they're really kind of catering a lot of this to, presumably, as they've came out and said, I do find it hard to believe that they just throw just such a random scene with a random character in there. So I do think there's going to be something that gets expanded on with him moving on down the line. And then finally, the more off-the-wall idea is Zack. Zack would be the one that would rescue Biggs. And I know that we were told at the end of the story, whenever we see that version of Zack that's alive, that's in an alternate timeline, not in the current timeline. But this is going on the theory that at some point, the timelines kind of converge, maybe whenever the Whispers get killed or whatever it is. And so Zack would be at a different time frame in his timeline than where we are in the main timeline. So it could add up where he could pull Biggs out. Maybe he's just running around trying to help. He's not necessarily looking for anybody. He's just, right spot, right time, and he gets Aerith out, or he gets Biggs out of there. And there's a lot of crazy things that would have to make that work. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I'm pretty sure Zack has nothing to do with it, but it is an interesting thing to think about. But anyway, well, those are my thoughts, guys. If there's anyone that you think I missed, anyone you think may have been there to save Biggs, someone I'm just not really thinking of, or someone maybe you've got a theory about it, be sure to let me know down in the description or the comments down below, and we'll see y'all next time.